welcome to the final merit tutorial for Unit 19 networking, where we're going to add a few services and improve some of the features of our wide area network. So the first thing we're going to do is static routing, as we have done before. Some small things just to sort of be aware of while you're doing this. So we're going to remove the dynamic routing. So static route, so we are going to the networks that we want and we are seeing how. So we are currently on the 10 network, so we want to worry about the 172. So we're going to go for this network first. 172.17.0.0, and we want to get there by this point here, and that's 172.16. so that's this side of this our network here, 0.0.2, and that's going to be the point that all of our connections from here are going to be going. So we can add that. Then we can add this network here, so that's 18 by the same point, and then we need this network over here, so that's a little bit different. So that's 192.168.0.0. Net subnet mask for that is 255 there, and the hop is the same, so add, and we should have 3 on that. Let's do the same on the other side. And I'm going to go into this, we're going to delete, oops, we're going to delete these, go to static, and we are going from here to this point, and we're going to these networks around here. So let's start with 172.16.0.0, so that's this one over here. And then we're at this point here, which is 172.17, this network 0.02. Add. What have I done wrong? One 172.16.0.0.255.0 117.02. Add. What's it say? Oh, so hang on. Oh, that's right. I labeled those the wrong way, the other way around for that one. So that's 2, that's 1. So back into here. Static. 172. So this is it. 172.16.0.0. 255.255.0.0, and then it's 172.17.0.1. So that's this point here. So 16, we need 18, and then we also need 10.0.0.0. add. That's that one over there. Close that. Now the middle one, which is a little bit different. So you've had same as it is with the rip, it's a bit different. So we essentially just send it to this network, and then that is all you need to do, and to this network, and then they will relay on from there. So there's actually less to do when you're doing it this way around for this. So we want to go to the 172.16.0.0 network. So that's that one. 255.255.0.0. And then we're going to do that. No, my bad. Sorry. We're going to this network. 10.0.0. It's the end network that you're going to. So, and then it is through, yeah, we are here, that point there. So that's 172.16.0.1. Alright, and then on the other side over here, it's 192.168.0.0 with a mask of 255, and then remember it's 17, but it's also, this is 1, so it's, I need to change that to 2 to get that point there, add that. So you've got less to add there, and then that should now. So let's just check. 192.168.0.254. Ping 192.168.0.254. Yes, there we go. Right then. So we have done our static routing. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to have a look at FTP, File Transfer Protocol. So let's go to our local server. And so one of the things that we should start doing now if we're using a lot of service or various services is start switching off the ones that we're not using on certain servers and leaving others on. So this local server HTTP is on. We are using DHCP as well. We're going to be using DNS. We're not using off system log. So some things you want to leave on. So you can leave system log on. AAA you can leave off. NTP, so network time protocol, you need to leave that on. Otherwise things won't work. Email, we're going to be using that on a different server, so we can turn that off there. You could have a local email as well as a remote email. You're not going to be using that there. FTP, leave that on. IoT, you can leave the rest of it. But it helps with things not going where they're not supposed to. So if we go to FTP, so FTP essentially is on by default, and you can see here there is a user that you can log in as and edit things. We're gonna change that for, no, actually, sorry, we're going to, I've got some details I need to follow on here. otherwise. So I'm going to use just some bogus details throughout, but obviously you could use then people's names and make those things. Now there's a couple of things you need to be careful with when you're using usernames. Please don't include numbers, don't include any special characters except for undercase and hyphens, I think. And passwords, for purposes within Cisco, really, and certain basic limitations to the way that it works. You need to keep passwords to numbers only. Yeah, just because with certain things it doesn't work properly, basically. So passwords, for this particular thing it does. When it comes to email, it doesn't. So we're going to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for that person. So this is going to be an admin, so they have full right permissions. Press save. We're going to make another user, a user. That password is going to be 876544321, and they are going to only have read and list permissions. Press add, obviously. So you should have 2 users, which we can then test out. So this might be our admin over here, and this might be our user over there. So it's a bit clunky in the sense that it's not like using Windows or anything. You will need to be using command line in order to negotiate things. So if you know any command line commands, then that's going to be helpful. So if we FTP, basically what we're going to do is we're going to initiate the protocol with the server. Now because we've set up DNS and we have a name for our server, we don't need to put in the IP address when we do this, which we otherwise would. We can pixel 8.com, trying to connect. Connected. Alright, so it's a little bit slow, but obviously we are going out and coming back in. So username, so we're going to log in as an admin here. So an_admin. Username, okay. Password was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in that case. Now it's quite common that you won't see the password actually type out. So, which can be difficult, obviously, if you have a complicated one. Right, so I've logged in, so I should be able to. Now, there's a couple of things. If you press help, it will give you a list of commands that you can put in. All right, so if we, now you should know this one, if we press directory, we can see that we have a number of files in here. So these are files that are on this server here. Now, the easiest thing to test that this is going to work, and without having to write out any of these, so if you highlight the name of this file at the top here, copy, and then if we use get, and then right click, paste, press enter, file transfer in progress. So if you just wait for a few minutes, you can see over here the lights flashing, showing the activity. Sometimes I find this, just to be sort of interject, that it does actually faster sometimes than it is other times, for whatever reason. So anyway, it's copied, so that's great. So we can test that if we go into close this, and we can go to this TFTP service down here, and we can see that the file that we copied over here has now been copied to my local drive. So let's go into the other side and we can test out the other user. So FTP pixel8.com. A bit faster, now we're all warmed up. So we go and do a underscore user 8. So we then directory. Let's see if we can copy. So we can list we can see everything. We can read stuff. Get, paste, enter. Reading file. I can read files, obviously. That was stupid. Right, so while that's doing that then. So what I need to do is put a file there, don't I? Or rename a file. So we'll need to put a file. If we go out of here and then into the desktop on this PC here, if you go to text editor, we're just going to create a test file. So test, put in there, and then we close this, and then it asks to save. So we're going to call this test file. Press OK. Go back into the command here. And with FTP, we are going to put test file.txt. And if we press enter, is it case sensitive? Put test file.txt. Press enter, and we can see file transfer in progress, and that's been transferred over. We can go over to the other PC. Sorry. And never mind, just press directory and we should be able to see test file.txt there has been transferred over. So that works then on the admin. Let's go over and test out our user. So we can copy files because we can read, but let's try do the same thing as we did over there. So it's going to text editor test, close, save it as a let's just do lowercase because it's easier. Test file, going to here, right. I'm going to try exactly the same thing as we tried on the other side, but we're logged in as a user here, so it shouldn't work. Put test file dot text. There we go. Permission denied. All right, so that's how we can control who can do what in terms of FTP. The final thing to look at then is adding an email server. So you'll find that it's easier to separate certain services up onto different servers rather than to try have them on the same one. In fact, flat out won't work sometimes, so you have to. So we're going to add another server over here. Whoa, what am I doing? Not. Now let's go into physical just to be certain. Let's go into our ISP cupboard. It probably would have been added in here anyway, but let's make sure we do it the proper way. And we're going to go email server. Going to here. Oh, we have to connect it, don't we? Be helpful. Connections from there into our switch. And of course we need to give it some configuration. So going to our server, we're going to give it a... So the gateway is, we are inside the ISP, so it is 172.18.0.1. I do believe we don't need to set the DNS server number there. So let's connect the IPv4 address here, which is 172.18.0. Now I'm going to go with 0.15. So my DNS is 10. This is 15. And we're going to go to services next. So again, I'm going to turn off things that I'm not using on this. I'm going to leave FTP on just in case it needs it for something, perhaps. DNS, I don't need on this. Off, leave these on. I'm going to use that FTP. Leave that, it's not going to make any difference. Right then, so go to email and then our domain name. So here we're going to create a domain name, mail.pixelate.com. Now essentially you can call this whatever you want, but I suppose it makes sense to make something that is makes sense. So we can set that. And we're now going to make our username. So this is where it's particularly important that we have the correct use of symbols, etc. So there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for them. So I'm just going to use the same credentials. Makes things easier. User I suppose it does make sense thinking about it to put FTP on an email, so just in case obviously it needs to move large files around. So I've got on, and we've got 2 users. Right, so we do need to go into the DNS server, and we need to, while we're here, we're going to clean up some of the services. We don't need that. we're not going to need any FTP on here. We're not going to need email on here. In fact, it might conflict with the other one, but we are using DNS. And we've got pixel8.com. This is mail.pixel8.com, and the address for this one is our 172.1.8.015, the server, email server that we just made. So we're going to add that. And we are then just a little bit of things to set up with email. I remember way back when it was not just to set up your email, and it wasn't none of it was as autumn. It's difficult enough now sometimes. So anyway, we'll go into our PC here. I can probably go back into logical. Oh, you can see I've added my server here, a logical place. Right, so just while I'm here, something a little fancy. So what we can do is we can select these devices here, which are our ISP. And if you select these, you can you can up here in the right hand corner, create new cluster. Right, there we go. And you got a little cloud icon. Very fun. And then if you click on the cloud here, it takes you into your ISP cloud. So the cloud is essentially just a logical concept, essentially. Anyway, so we are finished with our email configuration in there. So we got to configure our email on each side of here as a user. So a little bit like FTP, but we go into email here, and then we have configure email. If that's not the first screen you see, this is the first screen you might see. Then you go configure email. Right, so your name. So some of this is important, some of it's not so much. So in here we can just put an admin as the name. Email address. So essentially we can make this up at this point, but we're going to keep things logical. An admin at mail.pixel8.com. This is the important bit. So this needs to be, if it wasn't an IP address, it is the name of, and that's the same ingoing, outgoing. Username, also important. It needs to match 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Save. Now I need someone to send an email to, so you gotta set up the other side. So same thing, email, configure email, your name, a user, a_user at mail.pixel8.com. Control V. Username is a_user 8734321. Save. Right, let's see if it works. It is a bit finicky, so you do need to, might be one of the things that is most temperamental. So we are going to send it to an_admin, subject help help me send. Here we go. Mail server resolved the name. Send success. Supposedly, go to the other side. Go to mail. Receive. Receive mail success. Can I read my mail? Mail. Receive. So let's go look. Where's it come from? Aha. So we've all seen maybe these before. Domain name not found. Let's go back in here. Email server. I think we needed to give that a domain name. Point. Let's try again. It's all part of the process. And admin. Gonna need it. To an admin, give proper actual mail.pixelate.com. Right, send success. Email receive. Aha! There we go. So we needed to make sure that our email server had a DNS server as well. So there we go, help. And then let's send it back the other way. Oh, hang on. I'm assuming we can reply. There we go. What on earth is this? Whatever. Packet tracer nonsense. Right then, okay. What is the problem? Send. Finally, wow. Over the other side. Email. Receive. Help. What is the problem? Don't even want to know. Right then. I think that is all of the things that we are going to be covering here. So any further questions, then obviously you'll have to ask me. Thank you very much. Cheers.